Hey everyone, and welcome back to another deep dive. Today we're taking a closer look at something that's pretty crucial for anyone who enjoys the e-bike life.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're talking about how to select the right charger for your e-bike battery.
Right.
Now, you might be thinking, isn't it just plug and play? But as you'll soon discover, there's a bit more to it than that.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into making sure that you have the right charger for your battery.
Because if you get it wrong, you could end up with a bunch of problems. You
Yeah.
could damage your battery, you could shorten its lifespan, or even create a safety hazard.
Right.
So our goal today is to equip you with the knowledge to make the right choice and keep your e-bike running smoothly.
Exactly.
So let's get started.
Okay.
So first things first, almost all e-bikes these days run on lithium-ion batteries.
Right.
And there's a good reason for that. They're lightweight, they're energy dense, and they can be recharged many times. Now, to really understand how to charge them properly, we need to take a quick peek at how they work. So inside a lithium-ion battery, you've got two key components called electrodes, the cathode and the anode.
Right.
When you're using your e-bike, the lithium ions move from the anode to the cathode.
Yeah.
And this movement of ions creates the electrical current that powers your motor.
Right.
Now, when you charge the battery, the process reverses, and the ions flow back from the cathode to the anode. And this is where things get a little delicate.
Yeah, the charging process, it's a bit more sensitive than the discharge process.
Oh, how so?
Well, think of it this way. When you're discharging the battery, it's like a bunch of cars all rushing out of a parking garage at once.
Okay.
But when you're charging, it's like trying to carefully park those cars back in the garage one by one.
I see.
You got to do it slowly and precisely to avoid any collisions.
So if you try to charge the battery too quickly, it's like forcing those cars back into the garage all at once?
Exactly. It can cause damage and even overheating.
So that's where the charger comes in.
Right. The charger is designed to control the flow of electricity to the battery and ensure that it's charged safely and efficiently.
So when we talk about picking the right charger, what's the first thing we need to consider?
Voltage compatibility is the most critical factor.
Voltage compatibility.
Yeah.
So what exactly do we mean by that?
Well, simply put, the charger's output voltage needs to match the battery's nominal voltage.
Okay, and what are the common voltages we see in e-bikes?
You'll typically find e-bikes running on 24V, 36V, 48V, or 52V systems.
All right, so if my battery says 36V, I need a 36V charger.
Pretty much. But there's a little nuance here.
Hmm.
The voltage on your battery's label is its nominal voltage.
Right.
But when it's fully charged, the actual voltage will be a bit higher.
Huh.
It has to do with the individual cells inside the battery.
Cells.
Yeah. Most e-bike batteries are made up of multiple smaller cells connected in series.
Oh, I see.
Each cell has a specific voltage, usually around 3.6V or 3.7V.
Okay.
And when you connect them in series, their voltages add up.
So to get a 36V battery, you'd need about 10 of these cells.
Exactly. And when those cells are fully charged, their individual voltages also increase slightly.
So a fully charged 36V battery might actually read closer to 42V.
Yeah, that's right. And a 48V battery might read around 54.6V when full.
Got it. So always double check the label on your battery for the specific voltage.
Absolutely. It's the golden rule.
Okay, voltage is sorted. What's the next thing we should be looking at?
Amperage.
Okay, so amperage. What does that affect?
Charging speed.
Oh, so a higher amperage means a faster charge.
Yeah, basically.
But are there any limits to how high we can go with the amperage?
Yeah, you don't want to go too high because it can stress the battery and shorten its lifespan.
Makes sense. So how do we know what amperage is safe?
Well, a good rule of thumb is to stick with the amperage of your original charger or go slightly higher.
Okay.
But always check your battery and e-bike manufacturer's recommendations.
Good point. Now, what about the physical connection?
Oh, you mean the connector type?
Yeah, the plug itself.
Right, so there are different types of connectors out there. XLR, barrel jacks, XT60, XT90, and others.
Wow, quite a variety.
Yeah, and the charger's connector obviously needs to match the port on your battery.
Okay, now let's say I find a charger with the right voltage and amperage, but the connector is wrong.
That's a common situation.
Any solutions?
You've got a couple options you could try using a connector adapter.
Oh, like a little converter thing.
Exactly, but make sure the adapter is rated for the correct voltage and current.
And polarity, right? Positive to positive, negative to negative.
It's absolutely critical.
Okay, and what's the other option?
You could rewire the charger with the correct connector.
Rewiring sounds a bit more involved.
Yeah, it requires some basic electronics knowledge and the right tools.
Like what kind of tools?
You'll need wire cutters, wire strippers, a soldering iron, and some heat shrink tubing.
Got it. But this sounds a little risky. Are there any safety precautions?
Oh, tons. The most important thing is to always disconnect the charger from the power outlet before doing any work on it.
Okay, that's a good starting point.
Yeah. And then you need to carefully identify the positive and negative wires.
How do you do that?
You can usually tell by the color coding,
Yeah.
but if you're unsure, use a multimeter to double check.
So once you've got the wire sorted, you solder the new connector on.
Yeah, and then use heat shrink tubing to insulate the connections.
Okay. And after that,
Before you even think about plugging it into your battery,
yeah.
you need to double check the polarity again with a multimeter.
So double check even after you've rewired it.
Absolutely. Getting the polarity wrong can fry your battery.
Got it. Safety first.
Always.
So are there any general safety tips we should keep in mind when charging our e-bikes?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like what?
Always use the charger recommended by the manufacturer whenever possible.
Okay.
And always charge in a well-ventilated area away from flammable materials.
Good advice.
And never leave your battery charging unattended for long periods or overnight.
Right.
And once it's fully charged,
Unplug it.
unplug it, got it. And every now and then, take a look at your battery and charger for any signs of damage.
Like cracks or bulges or anything unusual.
Exactly.
Got it. So to sum up, voltage compatibility is key.
Yep.
Then we consider amperage and connector type.
Right.
And safety is paramount.
Absolutely.
Now, thinking about how quickly lithium-ion technology is evolving, what other advancements do you foresee that might change the way we charge our e-bikes in the future?
That's a good question.
It is. It's something to ponder.
Definitely.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.